Anyway, so there was a show that I told a story at about a month ago. This lady, Kate Hodgson, runs it, that's up at Ossington and DuPont in the Seesaw Cafe. Really lovely show. And I was biking up there, and I can't drive. I just turned 40, and I'm like, you know what? I actually don't think I should learn how to drive, because I'm like a kind cyclist, but I'm a total space cadet, and so I quite often get beeped by drivers, and often it's just like drivers being like angry that I'm on the road, but sometimes it's because I'm like weaving into the road a little bit, because I'm like la la la. Anyway, so I'm driving up Ossington, and there's a stop sign. I mean, there's a stoplight, sorry, but it's not on a crossroad. There's just a construction site on one side and then houses on the other side, and there's two cars stopped there. And so I pull up and I look around and I take a really good look, and I'm very conscientious of always making sure. And there's no people walking anywhere. The only other humans around are these two people in the two cars. So I feel like, fuck it, there's like literally no harm in me carrying on through this stoplight, and so I do. So then I'm biking up the road, and I'm trying to, I'm practicing my story, and this car, as this like big SUV goes past, and he beeps and he yells something out the window at me, and I'm like, well, maybe I was weaving into the road. It's not at all out of the question. And then he pulls up at the lights at the top of the road. And I have to tell you that I really hate conflict. Like, I'm very British, and we grew up in this family where we just super never fought, which for years I was like, it's so great. And now I'm like, I'm completely ill-equipped to ever disagree with anyone on anything. I'm working on it in therapy. But so I hate like any kind of conflict ever, except when I'm on a bike and they're in a car. Then I love it. So I see him pulling up, and a bit of me is like, let the lights change, because I know I'm not going to be able to keep quiet, but the lights don't change. So I go up to his window, and I kind of stand there, and he lowers the window, and he's like a guy, like maybe my age, kind of bearded, baseball cap hipster, and I go, what did you yell at me? And he goes, the law's the law for everyone. And I went, yeah, but there was no one around. Like, there was like literally no one there. And he goes, it doesn't matter, it's a stop. But he was like super angry in this way where I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, he had the moral high ground, right? He was correct. I was breaking the law. But I was also like, why are you so furious when this made no difference to your life? And I was like, it made no difference. Like, it doesn't matter. And at that point, this other bike pulls up. A guy on a bike pulls up and kind of goes slightly ahead. And he goes, you're doing a disservice to gentlemen, like to people like that gentleman. And I went, that guy was literally nowhere near me. It made zero difference to his life. And he went, it's the law, you fucking cunt. Which, where I come from, that's a term of affection. But I know that you guys don't use it like that. And so in that moment, I was like, oh, that's why you're so angry, because you're just really, really angry. And so at that point, the light changes, and he starts to bike off. He starts to drive off. And as he does, as loudly as I can, I say, you're a very unhappy person, and I'm sorry. Which, I feel like on the one hand, like, it's so important to find compassion for people when they're in that place. Like, he must be in so much pain to be that angry with a stranger for no reason. And I'm, in some way reaching out to him. And on the other hand, it's such a good burn. Because in his car, listening to me, he's going to be like, fuck you, I am really unhappy, my life is pain. And that's going to stay with him for weeks. So if you get super shouted at by a stranger, may I recommend that to you? You could also try, I'm so sorry that you worry that you're an inherently unlovable person. Or, I'm so sorry that you feel like your dad has never really been proud of you. It's like the more I do story coaching, the more I realize that everybody pretty much has the same shitty internal monologues, just at different voices. And sometimes I think it's important to use my powers for evil as well as for good.